Hello, welcome. I am the Ifc architect, and today we are going to be doing something that is familiar. We're going to be redoing that initial tutorial, the BlenderBim beginner tutorial floor plan in 20 minutes, because BlenderBim has gotten to a point where I think it has visually changed enough that people might not recognize it when they use the latest version. So I'm going to be doing a redo of that, and this will be the first of many. The idea was to redo these tutorials as it updated. I didn't think I'd have to do it so soon, but I think it's changed enough. I would recommend that most people use the newer version, and when you're doing the tutorials, only use the version that the tutorial was done in, and it's always listed in the description below. But I'd recommend from now on only using a version newer than the one I'm using today. So I'm just going to show you quickly. Let's get into it. Preferences. Press BIM. We're going to type in BIM. And here you can see I'm using version 23.04.17. So that's pretty recent as of today. And yeah, we'll see. I'll go through it and we'll get to it. Okay, so like anything, I'm going to turn on my screencast keys over there. So if you want to follow what I'm doing, you can see everything here in the bottom left. And then just make sure you have your snaps enabled. These are the ones I use. So just make sure that this magnet icon is turned on. And then make sure your move gizmo is turned on. So clicked here. Okay. The snaps, just make sure that you get these little orange circles so you can snap to different items, different points. And then the move gizmo is this little gizmo that's attached that can help you move things in different planes. Okay, so we're going to get into it. We're going to start by deleting everything. So I'm going to select in the outliner, press A to select everything, and X to delete. And then I'm going to collapse this project browser in the corner there. And then we're going to come here to scene properties, and we are going to say create project. It's going to have an Ifc4 schema, metric, millimeters, cube, and square meters. And then make sure you select the Ifc4 demo library. We are going to use the Ifc4 AU library later, but we're going to start with the demo library. So we're going to say create project, and then you can see it's loaded the project on the side. So this is the project layout, and then we've got the types list over here. And then if we just view that, we can see all the types that have been added to the file. So we're just going to hide that again. We're going to collapse that because we don't need it. And then we're going to press N on the keyboard, and we're going to go to the tool bar, and we're going to go to the BIM tool. And then just a quick hint, you can add this to a hotkey. So you can see that shortcut is quite long, Shift Spacebar Alt O. But you can add it to a hotkey by right-clicking and say add to quick favorites. So I've already got it added, so I'm just going to say remove. And then you can see add to quick favorites. So what that does is you can press Q, and then it will be listed here, basically. So I've got these three listed. So I can just say QB, and it will select the BIM tool. So if I select box and I say QB, it will automatically select the BIM tool. It just speeds up the process. Then from here, we're just going to go and select the wall type, and we're going to start with a 200 wall. We're going to do the external walls first. So I'm going to press 7 on my numpad to orient to plan view. In Blender, the Y is the north-south axis, and the X is the east-west axis, essentially. So we're going to start with that, and I already know how long I want this to be. So I'm going to add it over here by just pressing Shift-A, and then I'm going to change the length to 10,000 millimeters, which is 10 meters, 10, 1, 2, 3, enter, and then just hit refresh, and it'll add it there. And then go to the next one, and then I know exactly how long I want this to be. I'm going to say 3,000, and I'm going to say Shift-A, and then I want the next one to be 1,500. I'm going to say Shift-A, Shift-R to rotate it, and then the next one I want to be 4,000, say Shift-A, Shift-R, and then the next one I want to be 4,000 again, Shift-A, Shift-R, and then I want this one to be 5,000, Shift-A, and then Shift-A. I want this one to be 6,000. So I'm just going to say refresh. And say Shift-A, Shift-F to flip it so it's in the right orientation there for me. Shift-E, Shift-A, Shift-F, Shift-E. And that's our external walls. Very nice, very simple. I'm going to move on to our internal ones. So I'm just going to snap to the cuts that we created earlier. I'm going to change this to 100. And I'm just going to say, I know I want this to be 3,000 long, and then I'm just going to say Shift-A, and then I'm not actually going to add a whole bunch of walls. I'm just going to select this one and say Shift-D, Y, and then just snap it to where those breaks are. And then I'm going to extend this one, Shift-E, I'm going to say Shift A. I'm going to say Shift F to flip it. Shift E to snap it there. I'm going to grab this guy. I'm going to say Shift E so to bring him in. So now we have our external and internal. The next thing we want to do is add a camera. So if we go to BIM documentation, we see this is one of the first things that's changed. Here it won't allow you to create a drawing, a sheet, or a schedule without saving the project first. So essentially how the sheets reference, how it works has changed, and now all the sheets and drawings are saved locally instead of your BlenderBim folder. So that now you can have a huge set of sheets and drawings with each project, which makes it much better, to be honest. So you can either say save project here, or you can go to your scene properties and save the project here. So we're just going to say save project, and I'm just going to put it where I have this project. So I'm going to call it tutorial floor plan redo. I'm going to say export, and then you can see it's been saved. And then we can go and create a drawing. So we're going to create a plan drawing that is at the my story, which is the 1 meter high default. So we're going to say add drawing, and then you can see it's added a camera. So if we want to go into this camera, all we have to do is activate it. And then you can see something slightly different. So it's cut this view, and then it's also created a preview for us what the 2D cut is going to look like. So if I go into 3D, you can see it's actually shown us the preview at the correct height, which is quite nice. It brings you closer from the AutoCAD process to a what you see is what you get process. So I'm going to go back. I'm going to press Naught. I'm going to select the camera, and I'm going to actually adjust it by going to Object Data Properties. And in the orthographic camera, I'm going to say 15 to bring it in. And then I'm just going to turn off my snaps temporarily. I'm going to press G so I can center this a little bit, and then turn my snaps back on. Quite important. You can see the camera has been added here to the views on the side there, and we've got a fairly good preview here. So what we're going to do is we're just going to activate it again, and we're just going to say create drawing. And there you can see we've got a nice external internal wall drawing. So I'm going to close that, and we're going to move on to doors. I'm going to say tool, change this to door type. Make sure you have your BIM tool selected, and we're just going to create some doors. So I'm going to say Shift A. I'm just going to snap basically to the centers of where I want these things. So we're going to go there. I'm going to say Shift A. And then over there, I'm going to say Shift A. And over here, I'm going to say Shift A. And then I'm just going to grab this guy, GX, Shift G to regenerate the position. Shift A. I want this to be against the edge, GX, Shift G. Okay, cool. And now we're going to get the next cool part of the updates. So in BIM documentation, when we say activate view drawing, it's going to show us the door swing. It's going to show us a 2D representation of that object. So I want to change the swing of these doors so that they're facing the other direction, because I don't like the direction it's facing right now. So instead of editing the 2D representation, we're going to go and use a new tool. I'm going to go to the modifiers, and you can see all these modifiers that have been added since the first time I did this tutorial. And we are going to say Ifc door. We're going to say add, and then we're going to edit it. So you can see it's changed it to a single swing left where it was a right hand swing. So this is already what I want, but I also want to change the height to 2100, or not 21,000. And then also the width to 800. I think is just more reasonable. And then I'm just going to say finish editing. Since these are all the same type, they have been edited as well. And then, oh, you can see that we've accidentally moved all our doors outside. So we're going to select them all, and we're going to go to our object properties. I'm going to collapse all this, go to the object, Ifc object metadata, collapse that, go to the spatial container, and then open that. And we are going to go into our building and into our story. We're going to select that, and we're going to say assign container. And this is the correct way to move these objects back into the correct container. Anyway, now that we've done that, we can just say activate drawing. And then you can see it's changed the swing of these doors. So this guy, you can see, is still facing the wrong direction. And we don't want to flip him in the 2D view because it flips on the center of the 2D. So if we say flip, it flips it incorrectly. But we can just simply change it back. We can close this. We can go to geometry, go to our representations, change to our model view, select that one, say Shift F. And then a simple way to tell in the model view is that whichever direction the door is facing, that is the direction it's opening, essentially. So then we can just activate the drawing again, and you can see it's changed the door flip direction there. Okay, cool. So now we can do our windows. Go tool, we can go to window type, and then I'm just going to add it to the centers. Remember to select the wall first and then add the object you want to add. So I'm going to say Shift A, select the wall, Shift A, select the wall, Shift A, select the wall. I'm just going to add it there, Shift A, select the wall, one there, and one there, and then one there, and two here, Shift A, Shift A, and then we're going to add two here, Shift A, and Shift A. And then these two I want to be on the outside again, so I'm just going to select them, say GY, and snap them to the top. And there it's sorted. So then we can just go to BIM documentation, we can activate again, and you can see it's changed to the 2D representation of the windows as well. And we can say create drawing. And there you can see we've got door swings and the windows in. Okay, the next thing we want to do is add our finishing elements and just fill up the scene. So we're not going to use a custom file this time. We're going to use the Ifc4 AU demo file. So go here to our scene properties, Ifc project setup, and you can download this in the description. It does come with BlenderBim. It's located in your data folder, but you can download it in the description. Make sure you're using the latest version. Go to Ifc project library, click on this file icon, and then just navigate to where you have it downloaded. So I've got it in my library, and select the Ifc4 AU library, select that library file, and then we're just going to expand this and scroll it down because there's quite a few. Expand it all the way, and then we're going to Ifc type project, and then we're going to Ifc furniture type. So we're just going to select a few of them. The first one we want is the 1-seater sofa, then the 2-seater sofa, then I think we want the large sink, and we're just going to scroll down here. We don't want the toilet without the cistern. We want the king bed. I think we're going for the biggest cooktop here. We want a medium basin. There we go. I don't think we're going to use a urinal this time. We're going to go with a 5-seater circular table and a 6-seater rectangular table. I think we're going to go with a 75 by 90 shower. And we're going to go with a, let's have a look, toilet with cistern. And I think that's everything we wanted. Not a lot. Then it's quite simple. We can go into tool. We can go into our furniture type. And you can see these have been added to the bunny. So we're going to start with the generic 1-seater sofa. And again, you can see I've got these in the wrong space. So I'm just going to select them all. I'm going to go to the object properties. We're going to go to object metadata, go to the Ifc spatial container, go in here to the My Story and say assign container. And then just make sure, the mistake I keep making, just make sure you select the correct folder when you add these items. Okay, cool. So furniture. So we're going to start with this generic furniture set. Let's say Shift A. And now we can't really see what's happening. So normally we'd switch over to 2D representation, but you know now that has automatically happened. So we can say activate drawing, and there it is. So I can just rotate this. So it's roughly like that. I'm going to say G and move it there. I'm going to say Shift D X, rotate it in the other direction, GX, and there it is. And now we're going to add the next one, which is the 2-seater, Shift A. Again, we can activate it to see which direction it is in. Rotate Z 180, because it needs to face the other direction, and put it there. And then we can go to the next one. Well, let's select it from here, right? We can use the generic large sink. We're going to put it underneath the window. We're going to say Shift A. We can go here. We can say Activate View. We can bring it up here. You can see where the tap position is. So I'm going to rotate it Z 180, and then just snap it underneath that window, basically. And then we can use the toilet without cistern. We can snap it to the center here. We say Shift A. This one we can tell which direction it's going. Rotate Z 180. Perfect. And then we can go with the cooktop. We can go there, Shift A. Let's activate the view so we can see it. There it is. G, G, GY. Bring it down by 50, minus 50. We're going to go here again. Get our medium basin. Say Shift A. Activate the view. Select that basin. Rotate Z 180. We're going to go with our shower, I think. Let's go Shift A. Activate the view. Rotate Z minus 90. And just snap it into the correct position. Go with our... did I add the toilet with the cistern? Let's go with our 6-seater rectangular table. We're just going to say Shift A. That one we don't really need to preview. And then 5-seater circular table, Shift A. And then let's do the... Did I not add the king bed? Let's go Tool. I didn't. Okay. I'm going to go into our project. And then we're going to scroll down to the king bed. Whoops, I added the generic toilet. There we go. King bed. There, we're just going to say Shift A. I'm going to activate the view, and then adjust it. And then just say Shift D, rotate Z, -90. And just snap it there. Okay, cool. Now we've got basically all of our 2D elements in there. And we're just going to go and just check what that looks like in preview. We can activate the drawing. We're going to say create drawing. And there we go. Next thing we're going to do is we're just going to draw in the countertops with the line tool again. So now we have an annotation tool, which is just similar to the BIM tool. It creates a drop down over here, but the tools are also still here. So we can just go with the, let's go line tool. And we're just going to say Shift A to add the annotation. We can bring it here. And then we can take this guy and say GY, bring it there, GY -600. We can say EX, bring it to the end, GX -900, EY, and then we can select 2, which is for the edges, and we can select that edge, and we say Shift DX, and we can say 50, and then we can say EX 800, and then we can select these, and we can say X and delete only the faces, and then we're left with the outline. Then we can select these guys as well. Select 2, select just this guy, I think, or both of these guys. Shift D and then Y, bring it down. Bring down GY so that it lines up there, and then select 2, select this guy, GY 1 to 100. Press 1, bring it across, and there we've got a countertop. So now we can do the built-in cupboards here. Just select this guy again and say Shift DY, snap it there, and then select these edges and snap it to the inside there. Grab this again, Shift DY, GY, there's some built-in cupboards tab, and that's all the 2D stuff we want to do for that. In this case, we're not going to add a TV. We're just going to draw it in 2D. So I'm going to tab back into there. I'm going to select this line, Shift D, and put it over here, just about there. I'm going to press 1, and I'm going to snap it there to see how long it is, -2900. So I'm going to say -1400, so we can have 1500. I'm going to press 2, and then I'm going to say EY, let's see, -200 for the width. Then I'm going to select these guys. I'm going to say X, only faces. Then I'm going to select 2 again, select one of these, Shift DY, -100. And then I'm just going to scale it in roughly so that I can see it. Okay. And then tab out of it. And then we can just activate the drawing again. And we can say create drawing. And there we can see our TV's been added. Maybe we just want to center it. It's going to tab back in there, grab these, and then just say G so that's centered. And then maybe grab these guys and move them a bit closer as well. GY. There we go. Activate and print. Okay, cool. The last thing we want to do is add the trees. This is going to be a custom family. You can download it in the description. So go back to our file, and then we're going to go and wherever you've downloaded it, just go get it. I've got it here in my standards, in my nature, and it's called small tree update. So we select that file, Ifc type product, building element, and then we just say add pinned element, and then we go to tool, make sure we are in the BIM tool, make sure we have got this file selected. We're going to go to building element proxy type, and we're going to select the tree, and then we're going to basically add it in the same position, say Shift A. If you want to see its 2D view, we can just activate it, grab that, say Shift D about there, and then say Shift D about there. Okay, cool, and that's roughly the same thing. Activate the view and create the drawing. And there we go, we've recreated this floor plan in the most up-to-date way. I hope that was insightful, and I hope that was helpful. I will be redoing more, but as it comes. Apologies for the delay for the last video.
If you found that interesting or useful, you can check out more at the OSArch community page. This was made using Blender, the BlenderBim add-on, which is powered by the Ifc OpenShell, and the community that we're involved in is the OSArch community. I will provide links in the description, and you can check other videos to follow along. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.